Hey, unsub, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today, I'm gonna be doing an album review on King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard's Fishing for Fishies. So, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard is one of the most popular bands in Australia, and they have been dropping albums after albums, especially in 2017, where they decided to drop 5 albums. Yes, 5 albums of original material. They dropped Flying Microtonal Banana, which is amazing, and then they also dropped what's the second album? Yes, Murder of the Universe, which is more of a mutinous concept album. The album is 40 something minutes long, but yet it has 20 something tracks. That's insane. And then for the third album, they collaborated with Mild High Club to make Brunswick East, which is underwhelming. And then they also dropped Polygon Dwanaland and Gumboot Soup, which are both okay. And before that, they also dropped albums like Nonagon Infinity, which is one of my favorite psychedelic rock albums of the decade so far. And they also dropped other albums like Quarters, which is basically 4 tracks, but almost an hour long. And they also dropped Paper Machete Balloon, which is a nice, mellow little concept album. And then they kind of took a break in 2018 and then released this. And again, it has a different style, different texture, different flavor, and they're bringing something new to the table. They're experimenting even more. So here we are. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm in Your Mind Fuzz. That album is amazing as well. Yeah, anyway, Fishing for Fishies is this album, and it's not their best set of tracks, but I still like a big majority of it, I have to say. And in this album, their music is less tense, but more mellow, more fun, and they indulge in blues rock and soft country music way more here. In fact, they're doing the boogie, blues, jazz, country fusion thing, where they basically fuse all these different instruments together and to create this groovy boogie blues vibe, and it's a pretty special concept for the album. Basically, in most of the tracks on the album, it has its electrical, buzzing blues guitar riffs and some snappy drums, as well as a lot of soft vocal harmonies, which is, I mean, it's not the greatest King Giz album, definitely not, but I still like a lot of it. My only, I guess, complaint about the album is that Planet B is not in this album, which, I mean, of course, stylistically, it's really different from the other tracks on the album, but Planet B is an amazing B-side to the album. I think it's a B-side, right? Or are they dropping another album? I don't know. But Planet B is wild. It's extremely heavy. It's extremely intense. The drums on this thing are bombastic. And the music video is the best of the year so far. It's just so whack. The band essentially play a pack of wild dogs, and they're so excited about getting shot by this bald person with a shotgun, and it's really violent, and it's really fun. But going back to this album, the album starts off with the title track, Fishing for Fishies, which I didn't really enjoy all that much at first because I think it's a little too cheesy, a little too corny, and a little too soft and mellow and weird. It's basically this weird experimental folk rock tune that's super sweet, but surprisingly, it grew on me. I really like it now. I don't think it's the best track on the album, admittedly, and it's, you know, it's far from being the best, but I'm just saying, man, it's grown on me, and it sounds so sweet and welcoming and friendly, and it's a really nice tone setter for the album. I really like the nice skipping drums. I really like the bridge where the guitar chords sort of change, and the lyrics are pretty good, talking about leaving these fishies alone, you know, letting them live a peaceful life. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the nasal vocal harmonies, I still like the tune pretty much. And then the second track is Boogieman Sam, which is this groovy country garage rock track that's way more solid. The verses are really catchy here, and we also get some squawking harmonicas, which are pretty present throughout the entire album, and it is a crucial component to the boogie blues sound that they're constructing in this album. Boogie, 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 boogie. And then we have the Bird Song, the third track, which is a song that I love a lot, in my opinion. I really love the nice piano chords in the beginning, and throughout the entire track, time signatures are not the usual 4/4 or 8/8 and again, King Gizzard does this all the time, experimenting with weird time signatures, and they do them perfectly, and very skillfully indeed. And I really love how jivey and jolly this track is. I really like the how lighthearted the track is, and overall, it's just a really nice, feel-good tune. And then we have Plastic Boogie, which is also a pretty good track, in my opinion. So, this track is way wilder and way more intense and fun, with some yeehaw strings, some wild and eccentric group vocals, some stuttering garage rock guitar riffs, and some super fun, eccentric instrumentals overall. And I think the lyrical concept of the track is also pretty good, talking about how plastic is destroying the environment. This album overall is actually really eco-friendly if you think about it. Up next, it's The Cruel Millenial, and it's one of the less interesting tracks on the album, but it's still not that bad, not at all, in fact. I think it is a really solid blues rock tune, and it actually reminds me a lot of Fleetwood Mac. Even though I think the verses are a little weaker, a little less attractive, and less catchy, and I think the track is a little blander than any other tracks on the album, I still like it for what it is. And then we have Real's Not Real, which is basically this demented and distorted hard rock track with some repetitive rough guitar bass and some super dreamy piano lines and verses, and they go together really, really well. So yeah, another feel-good jam, and it's like the kind of song that you would hear when you're saying goodbye to someone, as a good gesture, good vibes, definitely. And then we have This Thing, which is also one of the less interesting tracks on the album. I do enjoy the persistent jazz, blues chords on the track, and there are actually some woodwinds being worked into the track as well, which is, as always, a really nice touch. And yeah, anything else is just kind of okay. I think the vocals on the track are trying too hard to just pop out. It's just a little too much. And the country-esque strings, even though they sound pretty sweet and jivey, they are a little annoying when it's being repeated over and over and over again. However, the track kind of ends off in this Rockian jam thing, and it's a pretty cool ending. And the last two tracks are actually really satisfying. We have Acarine, which is another blues, rock, jazz, country, boogie, fusion track with some thick, saturated analog synths, and also some cycling pianos, which has some Aboriginal vibes when paired with these weird and low-key percussions, and also some eerie string and guitar layers. It is indeed a really interesting sounding track, and I think the ending of the track, where it just becomes this cool, fun, electric party dance beat, it's actually really fun. And then, of course, it transitions into Cyboogie, which is perhaps my favorite track on the entire album. Really ends off the album in a really fun and positive and charismatic way, actually. And it's basically King Gizzard, but they're doing this robotic auto-tune vocals like Daft Punk, but with these super super dumb and fat and clumsy boogie blues instrumentals with the weird eccentric retro synths as well, and I think it's really interesting sounding and really, really catchy as well. The lyrics are also really interesting, talking about how this cyborg is trying to fish for trouts, but it didn't work out. And yeah, it's over 6 minutes long, almost 7 minutes long, in fact, and it's multifaceted and it's really cool. Even though it's really weird, it still grows on you a lot, and it's a really conclusive way to end off the album. So yeah, overall, I don't think it's the best King Gizzard album, but I still love it a lot. And my least favorite track here is probably the Cruel Millennial, and my favorite is Cyboogie. I'm giving King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards Fishing for Fishies a strong 7 out of 10. So have you listened to this album from 1 to 10? How much did you rate it? Like if you like it, and subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.